5 Ways to Stop Overthinking. Hi, my name is Dr. Meghana Dikshit. I'm the author of the book You Matter and founder of The Mentor. Today I want to talk to you about how can you stop overthinking and start taking action. But before that, let's understand whether overthinking is good or bad. Let's see. In some cases, overthinking can be really good, like choosing a career, choosing a life partner, maybe choosing the right college for yourself, choosing the right business partner, choosing about your investments. All of these things are very important that you carefully look at your decision. You don't want to be impulsive, rash, because they are going to have a longer consequences on your life. And these consequences will then make you or break you in future. So overthinking in these areas are definitely advisable. But I'm going to talk majorly about the overthinking that we do on the day-to-day life. Like, a lot of times you may have found yourself looking in front of your clothes in the cupboard and like, which one to wear for this, right? A typical dilemma a lot of women face, like, all the time feeling that I don't have many clothes in my cupboard, or maybe overthinking about whether I want to eat this or that. There are so many times that you find yourself, even in taking the critical decisions of your life, you're simply sitting there and thinking about that decision, but you're not taking any action. And typically overthinking that I'm going to talk about today is a thinking that falls and gravitates towards the worst case scenarios. When you start imagining your future worries or your past events that may have happened that didn't go well for yourself. So I'm going to talk today about this whole negative approach that you have when you want to make a decision. And because of that negative approach, probably you're procrastinating, you have anxiety, you fall into depression, or you have lots of fears and worries and self-doubts about anything that you're doing in your life. It practically paralyzes you to take action so that you can start changing your life. Now, why do you first start overthinking? Where does it come from? Remember that every person goes through 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. Now, most of your thoughts are on autopilot. Like if you look at your thoughts that you had yesterday or while even watching this video, how many thoughts do you actually remember in your life? Very few, right? That means the thoughts that you are getting every single day are on autopilot. What does autopilot mean? The thoughts exactly what you thought today, yesterday, day before, a week back, a month back, a year back. Maybe it's just a continuation. The switch is on in your brain and just the thoughts are coming and going. Now, what happens in our space is these 60,000 thoughts could be of different kinds. They could be negative, they could be positive. But when your brain goes into the loop of thinking about these negative thoughts, paying attention to them, focusing more on them, because you know what, in life, what you focus on expands. Because your energy flows where your attention goes. If you're going to pay attention to these negative thoughts, or maybe, what worse can happen to you in the future, or what may have happened to you in the past, you're constantly going into the autopilot loop of overthinking what can go wrong. Now, where does this overthinking come from? So in my research, what I've realized is there are two definite ways that you have developed the habit of overthinking. The first way could be in the past when you made some decisions and they didn't go well. Now, when they didn't go well, maybe you experienced a lot of critical feedback or criticism for those decisions. Or maybe you constantly were reminded of how you're a failure. And you took it to your heart, you kind of started taking your failure personally. And these failures then continuously created that loop in your space. And you started losing the confidence about yourself, that are you even capable of making that decision? And that kind of put you in a loop, because every time you want to take that decision, your brain is falling back in the past events. All of us, okay? Every time you're making a decision, your brain is looking for a reference in the past. And if in the reference it finds those events which made you go through failures, it's going to bring those events back in your space. And this happens very subtly. Like in micro milliseconds, those events pop in your space and tell you that, you know what, you're going to make this similar kind of a decision. And look what happened in the past. You're going to make the same mistake and the same results will come out. Another failure. And failure means pain. And nobody wants to go through the pain. That's how your brain is designed. Your brain is designed to keep you safe and comfortable, to avoid pain and go towards pleasure. So you don't want to go through another failure, another painful event. And when you don't want to go through another painful event, you're simply going to sit idle, think about what can go wrong and not take the action. That's your first reason. The second reason you may be overthinking is because, maybe when you were a child, people around you, the adults around you, did not allow you to take your decisions. They either overprotected you and they took all the decisions for you, or when you made a mistake, they reprimanded you, or they pointed your mistakes again and again to you. And every time you wanted to do something, they said, you know what, last time this has happened, you're going to do that mistake again, or don't do that mistake again. A lot of times, I'm not saying that, your elders in the family or in your life are not loving you, but out of love, they start telling you, or they start putting things in your mind, telling you that, don't do this, don't do that, it may go wrong. And a lot of times our elders have their own baggage, which they impose on children. And that creates a loop of self-doubt where you start feeling suddenly when you grow up that as a child you never took decisions or somebody else took the decisions for you. And now when you grew up, like everybody is expecting you to make the decisions, but you do not have capability. You haven't developed those foundational blocks in your brain to make that decision for you. And when the time comes to make that decision, you're perpetually confused. You don't know which way to go through. Because that confidence of making a mistake is not there, or that confidence of maybe the decision will go right is not there. You're constantly sitting on the fence thinking, if I go this way, this might happen. If I go this way, this might happen. And you sit there on those crossroads, taking a chair, sitting there and thinking that, oh my God, I'm just kind of like going on, ruminating what can happen in future. Now, as I promised you, that I'm going to give you 5 ways to overcome overthinking. But before I do that, I want you to tell me in the chat box, what are some of the triggers or some of the events that keep playing in your mind on the loop? Now, remember one thing here, that overthinking is not something that you're born with. No child is born with overthinking. That means on the way, you have developed a habit of overthinking. Now remember this, something which is not natural, something that has happened over the period of time with conditioning is a habit. And if a habit can be formed, a habit can be reformed. So if you're overthinking and if you have a habit of overthinking, you can erase it and you can form a habit of making some well-informed, strong, powerful decisions by working on yourself. So let me know in the chat box down that what are some of the things that you keep overthinking about? What are some of the decisions that are pending in your life and you're not taking them? And then start working through these ways to overcome them. The first way I want to give you to overcome your overthinking habit is take a pen and paper, sit down and write down some of your triggers. Some of the events that or some of the things that happen in your life. Some people, things, situations, events that may be triggering this endless loop of overthinking. Journaling is the best way to identify where is your brain stuck on. Read that right, hear that right. Stuck on. What are you stuck on? And write that event down. A little mindfulness, a little awareness will go a long way. Remember, it's not an overnight shift. It's a gradual process. It's a gradual journey of changing this habit. So every single day, when you sit down and when you identify the triggers, and now write down in those triggers, what exactly happens? What is the loop that you go through? Which thought then generates next one, then generates the next one? You remember there's always going to be a ladder of thoughts that you will experience when you are overthinking. So if you can just take a deep breath right now while watching this video, just take a deep breath, sit down, write that event, write that trigger, write that person that makes you go into overthinking cycle. That's your first way. The second way that you need to understand is your mind is thinking 60,000 thoughts and not all of them are true. Just because you have a thought, it's not true. So understand that there's a lot of crap that goes on in our thoughts which is not true. So start searching for evidences about the thought. If you go through a cycle of overthinking, then look for evidences. Is this really true? How often when I made this decision have I failed? And also look for evidences which are positive evidences. How often I made a certain decision that has gone positive. Because you see, if you're watching this video so far, if you're overcritical about yourself, you're simply ignoring the fact that there are decisions in your life that you made in the past and they went well. But your focus is on the critical negative feedback for yourself. So start writing down what are some of your decisions that went really well for you. The third way that you can overcome overthinking is by getting a help from a friend. Sometimes, you're too caught up in your own story and you cannot identify your triggers or the loop that you are in. So how about finding one friend whom you can talk to, and that friend can then give you the feedback about what are some of the areas that you're overthinking. But remember, do not have a friend who's overthinker, because two people coming together who are overthinking will create further mess. So find a person who knows how to deal with overthinking. If you don't have that kind of a friend, try and find a community or a tribe where you will find such people, those who have already dealt with overthinking, and they can guide you. Invest in those relationships. And those relationships will really, really help you to overcome your overthinking. The fourth way that I would want you to start working on yourself is by moving your body. Now, if you see, overthinking is all in the head, right? Every time you're in the head, you're out of your body. You're not in touch with your body. You want to experience this, the moment you are in overthinking, just get up from that place. Because sometimes the places also have the anchoring. You'll observe yourself when you're sitting in your bed, or maybe you're sitting on sofa, or maybe you're sitting in certain place or certain spot in your office or at home. You'll observe that automatically you go into the overthinking. So change your body. In terms of move your body, not just change your body, but move your body. Maybe if you're sitting too long and you're going to overthinking, just get up, do some jumping jacks. Go for a 5 minutes walk in the nature. You see, the moment you move your body, your whole attention is going to go into the body. The moment your attention goes into the body, your overthinking is going to stop. Experience it, test it out, and let me know in the comment box if it helps you. Every time you find yourself overthinking, go into your body by practicing some exercises or movements or dance, anything. And the fifth and the last way of overcoming this problem is, if you really feel that it's overwhelming and you're not able to get out of it, if it's too much, then please take a professional help. Go to a coach, go to a mental health professional. There's no harm in taking a professional help if this is the problem that's paralyzing you from moving ahead in your life. Investing in yourself is the best decision you can make in your life. And you will never regret this decision, because this decision is going to give you exponential growth in your life. So let me know in the comment box if you really like this video and what are your top 3 learnings from this video. Subscribe to my channel and share the video if you care.